There are fears that Monday's planned national shutdown could turn violent. The Economic Freedom Fighters has warned businesses to remain closed. Police Minister Kganki has, however, warned that any criminality will be dealt with. Let's get some comment on Monday's planned protest from Kganki Matabane, who is the CEO of the Black Business Council. Thank you very much, Mr. Matabane, for your time this evening. Now, we know the right to protest is protected under our constitution, but given the economic impact, do you think the measures in this instance are justified? And do you expect a major economic impact, given that some people may be taking annual leave on Monday?
Good evening, Andy, and the viewers. We agree with you that we live in a democratic. If, for example, they are going to move from one place to the next, majority of the small businesses, especially the micro ones, they're actually operating on routes, and they are likely to close because if there's a large crowd coming, approaching someone who's selling vegetables and someone who's selling fruits on the street, they're likely to say, "But let me just move so that the crowd can pass." So it will have an impact, and the challenge is that the timing, obviously, as we said, EFF has got the right to do what they're doing, but the timing from an economic point of view, it may not be, it's not ideal because the small businesses are still trying to recover from COVID. They're trying to recover from what happened in July 2021. They're trying to recover from the impact of load shedding stage 5, stage 6 that we've been having since October last year. So there are just so many other challenges that we're dealing with.
So I think obviously the EFF, from their perspective, the goal behind this protest is for their protest to have maximum impact economically, so that, you know, supposedly those in power will have no choice but to sit up and take notice. That's the only way that these kind of protests are effective. Do you think that informal businesses, informal traders, the township economy will be far worse affected by this protest than anyone in the formal sector?
Yes, remember the formal sector businesses, like big businesses, for example, they can afford, and most of them are not necessarily located where the protest is likely to happen. And they can even afford to hire security guards and extra security to protect themselves. But the small businesses that are operating in townships, in rural areas, in formal settlements, they've got no chance because of where they are and also because of the size. So they are going to be affected very, very negatively. And remember, some of this, they're supposed to be taking advantage of almost the long weekend that we are approaching to then do more trade, because most of them are operating on a 7-day type of a calendar. So this was supposed to be an opportunity for them to do more trade, but because of what is likely to happen, they are not going to benefit from the low, if one can call it, the long weekend. So the impact all over a long period is going to be very negative. And remember, some of these small businesses are actually trading so that they can send their kids to school, they can be able to buy food, they can be able to survive, and because some of them are survivalist businesses. So the impact is huge. If they even lose 1 day revenue, they cannot afford to catch up, unlike big businesses that can probably even say everyone must take their leave, and they don't necessarily get affected that negatively.
If you had a private audience with the leadership of the EFF and you had the opportunity to perhaps persuade them to follow another course of trying to get their message across, what would you say to them?
Yeah, we had met them before, and we understand where they come from, and because they are a political party, and probably whatever they are doing is a political game. I don't necessarily think we can be able to convince them not to do it, but what we'll have told them, we'll have said, just allow, as you are being allowed to protest, also allow those people who want to trade, especially the small businesses, allow them to continue to trade. You can even support them as you are passing by, because I'm sure a lot of people can even support small business that are on those roads by buying the fruits that they are selling, by buying the food that they are selling, and that way you are doing what you are doing, but also you are supporting small businesses, and at least you are allowing the small businesses that are there to go on with their lives and also be able to provide for their families.
Well, thank you very much for speaking to us. That was Kganki Matabane, CEO of the Black Business Council. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what transpires on Monday.